There you go.
Hi, Jesse.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
How was your vacation?
It was really good. I did the perimeter training,
Okay.
and the dogs were fantastic.
Awesome.
Maverick didn't go outside the boundary at all.
Good.
He was wonderful. Bear did once.
Okay.
To chase a squirrel.
Sure.
But immediately came back.
Did you have to?
So,
did you reinforce at that moment, or did he just happen to catch himself and come back?
He catched himself and came back.
Okay. So if you ever come across that again,
Yeah.
excuse me.
I was just changing my grammar. Sorry, caught himself.
Yeah, I would right away kick in with that pressure, and I'd make it a harsh consequence because you're really trying to reinforce. So what'll happen is that the next time he thinks about stepping out to go for a squirrel, he's gonna like double check, But good.
I did the stim though, so I gave him. He did get a consequence.
Oh, he did get it. Okay, cool. What was the
Yes.
Do you know what the number was?
Honestly, I think it was something in the 60s.
Okay, so you got your regular collar as well.
Oh yeah, they came right before we left, so that was
beautiful, beautiful, excellent, great. Were you able to return the other one?
No, not yet. We're trying to take care of that. They're something about like a shipping label, but they don't really send one, so we're a little bit confused. And calling them, they don't pick up. You just have to leave a message, so it's been like playing voicemail, but it's fine. We'll figure it out.
Do you have a pen and paper on you?
I can grab one real quick.
Let me see here.
Okay.
They're also in California, just so you know. So they're like 3 hours behind us.
Oh, okay.
I just want to make sure we're calling the right number. 310 534 0101. Okay. Because anytime I've called them, they've always picked up unless I called 8 o'clock here is like 5 o'clock in the morning over there. There shouldn't be any issues really with contacting them. So.
Well, I will definitely go ahead and give that a try.
Otherwise, let me know. You can shoot me an email, and I'll contact them myself and tell them that you guys are trying to fix that issue and you're having problems.
Sure.
So good. So I'm glad the perimeter stuff worked. Glad you got your appropriate collar. Can you understand the difference between having the one that goes incrementally versus the 1 to 8 one?
Yes, very much so.
Okay, excellent. Any questions just from the past couple of weeks? Any concerns?
No, honestly, the biggest difficulty has been the walking. Bear is he's so bad on walks.
Okay. And this is with the reactivity stuff, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like weird noises, and he's just spazzing out.
Okay. Let me think here. Because I know Thursdays you guys are available. Is there any other day during the week that you're available?
The weekends.
The weekends? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me think here. Because I think I spoke to you about sending my trainer over there. I know weekends right now we're currently booked. It really depends on who we have here, but she may potentially be able to come out so you get the same person. And then help you in person. And like I said, it wouldn't be any additional cost. It's just kind of, additional aid.
Sure.
To help her out and then also be able to help you out. Because I thought when I went over it with her, I think she said that you're going over leash walking, but at least in that session, the dogs looked as if they were doing things correctly. Is that right?
And they were. It's when, that was just our sidewalk and it was pretty calm. It's when we go to the park and there's dogs and stimuli.
For sure. So, yeah, what we could do is we can have her meet you. I like Oz Park because Oz Park is super busy most of the time, especially on the weekends. That it'll put us in that context where you're going to see those behaviors and then she can help you address them. We
have a park right across from our house. That's where we walk the dogs.
Is it fairly busy?
Yes.
Okay, so as long as it's busy, then we're okay. All right,
Yeah.
so I'm going to make a
So,
note here for Brianna, so we can address that. Have you happened? Have you been able to watch any of our videos at all in terms of leash walking stuff?
I not the leash walking. I watched the last stuff that you sent me with like trying to um
Right, the long leash.
yeah, exactly, and like locking it and all that stuff. So I watched those, but I didn't watch any of the walking.
Okay, I'm gonna send you some walking videos. Probably
Okay.
just one. I'm trying to think. Heal, because I remember going over it with you, right, in terms of the method.
Yes.
Okay. Um, so would you like to for me to explain that to you here, or do you want to work on something that we can actually do and then just wait for the video and then Brianna to work with you?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do that.
The second one.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So um, we've gone over place, right? How's that going?
Yes. Good. That's something that they were familiar with before, so that was a fairly easy transition.
Okay. Do they happen to know the down command?
Yes, we from our prior training, he used like German words, so it's Platz.
Plots.
But
Sure.
yes, we know that pretty well.
Okay. So what we're going to do here is, so and I think I explained this before, but just to reiterate, even though a dog knows something through a different method, like prong collar or food, doesn't mean that e-collar will just apply. Okay. So we'll review the down command because that tends to be harder,
Okay.
in layering the remote over that. And so we have stationary commands. We have place, sit, and down. Okay. So place is typically the easiest for people because it's just go there and I don't care what you do, sit, stand, lay down, play with a toy, play with another dog, just don't step off of the perimeter, right? So I like that command when you know you're going to be partially distracted, that you don't want to have to worry about reinforcing a very strict looking behavior. Okay,
Mhm.
so sit is sit, right? It looks a very specific way. That's it. Down is the same thing. It means lay down. There's no exceptions. There's no standing. There's no sitting. It's lay down. Is I use that when, let's say, if you go to a patio and you want to bring the dogs with you and you don't want to bring something along, you would use that down command. Okay. Sit is momentary stationary command, right? You're walking, you see a friend of yours, your dog, sit. It's going to be a real quick 2 to 3 minute, maybe 5 minute conversation, and then you go back to walking again. Okay.
Mhm.
The down is anything longer than that, because most dogs, if if you're stationary for a period of time, um, they will be inclined to lay down to get more comfortable, right?
Mhm.
So if a dog lays down from a sit, technically they're not doing anything wrong in the scope of what like dogs could do,
Sure.
but it's disobedience. And what happens is, if as humans you understand like, oh well, we were standing for 30 minutes, so you lay down because you're just tired, right? But for the dog, it's I was under command, then I decided to do this instead, and it was okay. So what else can I do? Right? So then we start to get reactivity, we start to get leash pulling, we start to get like pulling off to go pee. Then your obedience starts to mean less because you gave that kind of gray area. Okay? So whenever we give a command, it's very strict, it's very black and white. If a dog were to lay down from a sit, even though I know they're tired, I would correct them and reinforce that position. Wait a little bit, and then down them so that it's on my terms.
Sure.
Okay. So let's go ahead and we'll start with Bear. We'll leash him up, short leash, and any treats that you may have, go ahead and grab those as well, please.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Okay. Got him.
All right. So go ahead and tilt your camera a little bit down. There we go. So I can see. Oh, there's Maverick.
Finger. He's going for the treat. Leave it. Leave it.
There you go. Tap, tap for Maverick there.
Yep.
Back him up. Tap, tap, tap. Keep going up. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Did he leave it?
Here we go.
Okay, cool. So what you're going to do here is you're going to let your leash go slack. And you're going to step on the leash with your left foot so that it puts pressure on the back of Bear's neck on the flat collar. Okay, go in and then what you'll do is you'll pull up the leash a little bit with your left hand so that it starts to shorten it. Yeah, there you go. So you see how you can feel pressure on the back of his neck there?
Yeah.
Okay. And on your remote, what's your number right now?
28.
So go in and just start. Oh, actually, go in and feed that. There you go. Right. He did it because he felt the pressure a little bit, and maybe he just got lazy, but we'll take advantage of it for now.
Okay.
Now you're going to lightly pull up on your leash and tap to position him. Oh, he's following the food there. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. And then now what we want to do is that same thing. You're going to step on the leash, but I want you to kick in with the tapping. And then once Bear starts to lay down, because the leash is guiding him down, tap, tap, tap. Go ahead and bump a little bit. Good, and feed. Good. And we're going to repeat that 4 more times. Good. Are we seeing a neck twitch there?
Yes.
Okay. And what's your number?
27.
Let's go ahead and bump it to 35.
All right.
Do 2 more. Right. Excellent. And feed. Good. 1 more. Good.
Okay.
So I'm going to have you do the same thing, but this time you're going to put very light pressure on the back of his collar there.
Okay. Is he still getting treats?
Yes. And let me have you scoot a little bit so that you're in front of the pen area there, please. Yeah. Maverick.
I like food. We'll do anything for food.
It's kind of like me.
Okay, so now I am.
Yeah, very light pressure on that collar. There. Yep. Perfect. Let's do 4 more. Good. 3 more.
Come here. Please.
Good. 2 more. Yep. Good. And last one. Good. And we're going to pause right there, okay?
Okay.
If Bear gets up, I'm going to have you keep your foot on that leash and start tapping. You're not going to say anything until he lays back down again, okay?
Okay.
So what we've done here is we've taught him that with the contraction, there's other answers. Okay, so before it was, go to this bed or don't step out this perimeter, right? So the interesting thing about dogs and e-collar is that the sensation doesn't change, the contraction doesn't change, the intensity does, but it's the same feeling.
Right.
And we have to teach the dog to interpret that feeling depending on what's going on in that moment. Okay. So what allows him to kind of decipher this is the way the world looks at the moment, or
Mm-hmm.
because of the cue that we're now going to layer in. We're going to start using that word down, and really creating a good association that when you hear this, you do this as response. Okay.
Sure.
So whenever I teach things, people always ask, why aren't you saying down? I'm like, because the dog doesn't even know what down means anyways, right?
Uh-huh.
That makes the human feel better. Um, I can like I have a deaf dog that we're training, and there's absolutely no sound. But what he does in response to the e-collar is contingent on what's going on in life at that moment.
Sure.
Okay, so here it really helped that he knew down previously, so that was good. So it made it super easy to just layer in that pressure. And I like that when you went higher, he didn't spaz out. It made him think and actually lay down quicker. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so whenever we're teaching a stationary command, we typically want to go lower because too much power makes dogs jump and fidget. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
so whenever you're teaching things, I want you to always just keep that in mind. If you're doing heel or if you're doing recall, you can operate at a higher number because you want the dog to move very quickly. Okay,
Sure.
when we're doing stationary things, I want to go lower and raise it appropriately so I don't freak the dog out. Okay,
Right.
so with this command, right off the bat, you can start doing duration work. Okay.
Okay.
So there's two aspects to this. We're teaching the downwards motion through remote, and then
Mm-hmm.
we have go into this position and then don't move for the next 2 hours or whatever it is. Okay. And you'd work on those two things separately. So as you practice with Bear, what we're aiming for is you just say down and he go or plots and he just goes into the position.
Yeah.
Ideally, you don't need to remote him. And then, maybe you walk away and 30 minutes goes by and then you start to see him kind of slowly get up. You would tap him and he should just lay back down again.
Okay.
Okay. That's why it's super important that we teach them how to lay down with the remote because most people think you tell the dog plots and then they get up and then you shock them. But if they've never learned through the remote, they tend to jump away from the position. Okay. And the remote
Mm-hmm.
should make them go back into position, never away from position.
Makes sense.
So like here, you said down like maybe 2 minutes ago, or not down verbally, but you cued it, and
Sure. Yeah.
he's been sitting there, right?
Yes.
So um, if you're wanting to do duration work and making this applicable to everyday life, like going to a restaurant patio, going to a friend's house, going for a picnic or whatever, or maybe you go take them to the lakefront, but you don't want them to jump in the water or something, you have a means of stationary control.
Makes
Um,
sense.
the way we go about this in the beginning is pretty much like your setup here. Maybe you're going to watch TV and you're sitting down. I call Bear or Maverick over. I down them and then I step on the leash and they're collared up and everything. And maybe an hour into the movie, Bear decides he's had enough and wants to get up. I don't repeat the command. I simply just start remoting him until he lays back down again.
Mm-hmm.
So then he goes, oh, okay, like you made me lay down, and then I decided to get up an hour later, and then this happened. But if I just stay laying down, nothing happens.
Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to our obedience, we never repeat commands. We always reinforce it through remote, unless absolutely necessary that we have to repeat because the dog's panicked or confused. Okay.
Okay.
Questions about the stuff so far?
No, it makes sense.
So I'm gonna have you pick up your leash. I'm gonna assume that Bear might assume you're gonna release him and stand up preemptively. Okay.
Okay.
If he does so, you would correct him. Right. Go ahead and pick up your leash. This is good. I'm gonna wait a second. So if Bear did get up, you
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't step on your leash. You would actually jump to the remoting.
Sure.
Okay. You do that first to see would he correct himself. Okay.
Uh-huh.
If he looks confused and starts moving around a lot, that tells me he doesn't know what to do. I would keep remoting and then step on the leash to provide physical guide
Yeah.
until he lays back down. I would not reward because now this is a correction.
Okay.
Okay, we're only rewarding when he does go into pressure on the first go round, not if we have to correct them afterwards. Okay, you're making it very clear to him when you're given this cue, you do this, and if you break from the cue without permission, this is going to go off until you go back into position. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's our free word again? Is it free or break?
Free.
It's free. Okay. So go ahead and tell them free.
Free dog.
Good. And go ahead and reward. And a boy. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start to layer in the cue of down. All right.
Okay.
You're going to say down first, and then you're going to start remoting. No leash, not stepping on the leash.
Should I just drop it?
No, keep it in your hand.
Oh, okay.
So there's not gonna be any stepping on the leash unless we see he needs it. Okay. So it would be the last thing we incorporate. So it would be the cue of down, tapping. After a few taps, if it doesn't look like he's gonna get it, then we step on the leash as we're tapping to get him to go into position, and then we reward.
Okay.
All right. When you're ready.
Box.
Good.
And then I need to free him from here too?
Correct. Because now when you've given the word of plots, he's in that command until he's released from it. Okay. So if you don't say anything for 2 hours, technically he's supposed to stay there for 2 hours.
So in the other training, it would be like down, and then we would say stay, and that would be like the hold. But so the way that you're doing it, anytime they're in a down, that's a stay.
Yeah, it's implied. Correct. The way we create the implied stay is when he gets up without permission and you jump straight to the remote. That's actually what's teaching him. When I go into this position, I'm not supposed to get up. Okay. The way we use the word stay, but we use it very differently, and I'll go over that in a separate session.
Okay.
But whether you say place, sit, or down, it's implied that they don't move from that command. Okay. Go ahead and release and repeat that process 4 more times.
Box.
Right. Good. So right there, did you see that?
Yeah.
So he moved this right when you moved your hand, right? So he technically broke from position just before you said free dog.
Okay.
So what we may potentially have here is when he sees you moving your hand there, it kind of implies I'm going to release you. So he's going by the visual cue. So on this next one, when you go to release him, we'll fiddle with the leash a little bit to see if he prematurely breaks to give us the opportunity to correct for the break.
Okay, makes sense. Box.
Try there, tap, tap, tap. Yep, keep tapping. Right, and then don't reward here. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I liked here is that he went back into position, right? But it took about 6 to 8 taps. Ideally, we're wanting it to happen within 1 to 2.
Mm-hmm.
That can just come with practice. Okay. If I always see a delayed repositioning, then I start to play with power because I want to dissuade the dog from breaking from position in the future. So by putting the power a little bit higher, he's not gonna want to risk making that mistake.
Okay.
Okay. So try moving around again with your hands and stuff. Tap, tap, tap. Yep. Go ahead and bump your number.
Yep.
There we go. And repeat the hand movement. Yep. Bump your number. Where are we at now?
40.
Okay. Go ahead and move your hands around. Yep. Tap. Tap. Okay. Let's go ahead and go to like 46 or 48.
Okay.
Go ahead and repeat. Yep. Tap. 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 Yep. Let's go to 56. Yep. Tap. Tap. Right. Yep, repeat. Yep, tap, tap. All right, we're getting close. Try 60.
Okay.
And repeat. Tap, 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 tap,
He
tap.
does not like that.
Yeah, keep it there. And then back towards the, yep, tap, 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 tap. Hold right there. Tap, tap, tap. Yep, keep the pressure on tap. Step
I
on the
step
leash.
on the leash.
Yep,
Point.
step on the leash. Yep, tap, tap. Yeah, and keep yourself anchored as best you can. Tap, tap, tap. It's okay. You'll get it. Tap. Good. Did you lay down?
Yeah.
Okay. He's okay. Now repeat. Tap, 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 tap. There you go. Now movement, and then your hands and stuff, and then go ahead and pause. You see that difference?
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I wanted to make happen. Okay. So before you hit 60, he was no problem breaking from the position. Okay.
Right.
And I could tell right away when you were tapping him that he was completely unfazed. He was just like, how do I get that out of your hand?
Okay.
Right? So then we keep bumping that number, and then you notice, and he goes, yeah, he does not like that.
No.
Right? Most people would start to go down. Right? I could see we went from I think it was 56, and we just went up 4 levels to 60 because I could tell that we're getting close to his breaking point.
Yeah.
And now you do the same thing that you just did like 10 times, and now he's not moving because he doesn't want to gamble the 60.
Sure.
Okay? And we're doing all this on leash now because you were correct. Like he's uncomfortable, and you saw him go all over the place.
Yes.
So we're trying to. We need the leash to give us that physical either restraint to limit his options and where he can go, but to also give guidance because now he's starting to panic a bit, going like, "Hey, I really don't like 60. What do I need to do?" And even though we did like 13 downs prior, when a dog starts to panic, they don't always think logically, right? So that leash pressure was kind of like his grip to reality because then he felt that again. He's like, oh, I know what this is. And then he had to just think through the 60. And then once he gave it, then he's like, oh, okay, I was supposed to do this, like lay back down and ignore the fact that mom's moving her hands.
Yes.
Okay. So go ahead and try moving your hands again. Just like that. Perfect. So once we've taught the concept of just going into the position, it's actually very easy to make it meaningful simply by playing with the numbers. Okay? Go ahead and you'll do free dog, and I'm going to have you dip down to what our number was prior.
35.
Okay? And then we're going to repeat that process and see what happens.
Free dog. Okay. And say the word, start remoting.
Yeah, give the plots. Good. And then you're going to move your hand and leash around again. Tap, tap. Much faster. Good. You're going to try it again, the hand movements. Tap.
That was kind of my fault, though, because I put pressure on the leash.
On the leash? Okay. So just remote him back into position. Now here, you repeated plots, right?
Yes.
You don't want to repeat plots.
Okay.
Remember.
I did that because I thought it was my fault because I put pressure on him to stand up. So.
Yeah, doesn't matter. So
okay.
The reason why it doesn't matter is you're trying to teach him ignore everything until you hear free dog.
Yeah.
Okay?
All right.
And like for instance, I had a dog a few years ago that had bitten a couple of people.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted a really like cemented sit command because the dog was sitting and under command and then jumped up and lunged at the person, right? So they were like, how can we make this more like concrete? And I was like, all right, I was like, put the dog in a sit and we're gonna pull them on the leash and I know the dog's gonna get up and then we're gonna put high level consequence for breaking the position. And we kept doing that until the point where they would pull the leash and they would be like full force pulling and the dog would not budge. Okay. So for Bear and Maverick, when we're teaching this command, we're teaching them, ignore the leash, ignore dogs, ignore people, ignore treats, ignore everything until you hear free dog. Okay? Then you're free to do whatever you want. So even if you make a mistake as a handler, I reinforce it as on the dog for the dog as if they made a mistake. Okay? The other thing is just as personal, just as FYI, is if you say plots, right, and the dog gets up, most trainers teach repeat the plots or say no, then say plots, right? But when you do that, you're resetting the command. Okay? So when a dog's under one command, if you say something else, it becomes a new command. Okay? So even though you said plots and then he gets up and you say plots again, you're restarting it so he doesn't learn not to get up. He just goes, oh, I go and lay back down again.
Right.
So if we remove the word or the no or whatever, then the dog thinks if I hear plots, I lay down and don't move, or if I do, remote kicks in, no warnings. And that's how we create implied stay, and that's how we create obedience where we don't need to repeat things.
Sure.
Okay? So it's a small detail, but a lot of times when my clients struggle with stuff like that, it's because they're repeating.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Let's go ahead and do the hand movement again. Good. And here, go ahead and pause. And if you have a reward, give a quick reward. Good. So earlier we go to 60. We proved the point. We dipped it back down because we didn't need the correctional power anymore to dissuade him from making a mistake. You did a couple, right? We gave him time to rest and we repeated the exercise and he didn't move. Right? Because the brain's thinking, all right, we've done this before, and I know that will go to 60, and I don't like 60. What happens if I just respond to like 35, 40? Nothing. Cool. So then we're kind of clarifying in his brain that as long as he doesn't continue to break the commands, the power is not going to escalate, and he can actually avoid it entirely by just simply not moving. Okay? So then if I do that exercise and he does a good job by not moving, I can reward that to let him know that, yes, that was the correct answer. If you move, remote goes off. If you don't move, you get a treat. And that's what helps him clarify. Questions?
No. Yes.
Okay.
So because we have two dogs and we have that command free, how do we make sure, like, if I just wanted Bear to move,
yes.
Like Maverick is actually in the stay, and he's doing really well. I've said it a couple times, and he hasn't moved. But typically, if it's reversed, Bear will get up then.
Right. So then we want to start doing name prior to command, and then you would start drilling them together. So like you could put Bear on place, and then maybe you're doing downs with Maverick, and then when you say Maverick free. Bear might make the mistake, and then you would correct Bear, no words, and then you just keep stressing that command to release with Maverick until Bear starts to associate to listen to the cue word of Maverick or Bear prior to the command. Okay.
That makes sense.
Other questions?
No.
Let's try two more, then we'll swap dogs.
Okay. So just free him now?
Mm-hmm.
They're free.
Yep, there you go. Good.
Class.
Good.
They're free. They're free.
There you go. Good. And one more.
Class. They're free.
Very good. Okay.
Okay.
So this exercise of plots to free.
Yeah.
2 times a day, 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. All you're trying to do here is make plots. Like you give the cue and he just goes into position. You're trying to make it very smooth. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've achieved that, then we work towards plots don't move for 2 hours. Okay. And you can work with them at the same time, because the reason why you want to keep the repetitions shorter is because it's so redundant that it gets annoying for dogs. Okay. So, but if I just give them a plots and I'm going to be there for 2 hours and not move, it's not redundant. So you can do that right off the bat. Okay. So once you've mastered or Bear's mastered the plots command and you're like, he does it very smoothly and we don't need to, use pressure and all that stuff, then I go, great, you don't have to worry about that. Then I just go to application and using it for periods of time.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and grab Maverick.
Sure. We're going to switch handlers.
Yep.
Free. Here.
How's it going, Jesse?
Hey, how we doing?
Good.
So we're going to do the same process here with Maverick. We'll start with a bit of a heavier pressure on the neck paired with the remote.
Okay.
What's been Maverick's operating level typically?
What's his level? Probably like third. It's probably about the same as Bear, I think, 35.
Okay.
30.
Yeah, so let's go down to 30 just in case. And
Okay.
then do you have treats on hand?
I do not. I will grab some. Okay.
All right. So this exercise is easiest with the dog in a sitting position. So if you want to put Maverick there you can up and tap him into that sit. Tip, tip. There we go. And then let that left hand go. Yep. And then relax your right hand. And then step on the leash with that left foot.
And tap.
Yeah. So first we want to make sure up here. Prop him up first. Looks like you got a little lazy there. Tip, 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 tip. Let's go ahead and bump the number a little bit. What are you at now?
I was at 35 there.
Okay.
Go up a little, 37.
Okay. And then, relax that right arm. Oh, there you go. And then put that left foot on the leash.
And tap.
Correct.
Okay.
Tap, 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 and feed.
Good boy.
Good. And free dog. And we'll repeat that 4 times.
Okay. Free dog.
So Jesse, Bear had just gotten, I had put him on the couch and I had, when Nick said it, he got up.
Sure.
What do we do?
So there's only one remote, correct?
Right.
So take a pause from Maverick and start tapping Bear.
He went back.
Oh, he went. Oh, he already fixed himself.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're training 2 dogs at once, if Bear doesn't have a leash on him, I'd go ahead and pop it back on him. Just in case he tries to rush over to you guys, you can lead him back. And what you'll do is, if you're working with Maverick and you say free Mav or Maverick free, and Bear gets up, you would switch modes and actually start tapping Bear until he self-corrects, and then go back to Maverick.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Good. Tap, yep, tap. Yep, tap, tap, tap. Good, and feed.
Yes. Good boy. Good boy. Yes.
3 more.
Maverick, free dog. No, don't. Oh, it's.
Yeah, I know. Right.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
2 more. Good. Good. Yep. Correct. Good.
Yes, good boy.
One more.
Free dog.
Good. And what's our number now?
What's that?
What's your number now?
I'm at 42.
Okay, that's good.
I've stayed there the past 2 times.
Okay, yeah, it looks like it's working well. So what we're gonna do is same exercise, but now you're gonna ease up on the leash pressure and use more remote pressure to get Maverick into that position.
Okay. Still no command though, right?
Correct.
Okay. Maverick, free dog.
Is that bear?
Yeah.
So I lead him. Should I lead him back?
Yeah, if he's confused, use your leash to guide him back, but don't say anything while the tapping is happening.
Yes, good boy.
And let's scoot Maverick over here a little bit more to the in front of the fireplace here.
76 there.
Okay, yeah, and then make sure to dip that back down for Maverick.
Yeah. Was that too much for Bear? Or?
No, I mean if he wasn't moving, it sounds like he yipped and shut down, and then was stuck, and then you had to use leash pressure to guide him. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, when it comes to higher power, it's good that you worked them through it because technically, in an emergency situation, you'd have to use higher power to override the dog,
Yeah.
and you want to kind of get you yourself get used to correcting those situations using power, but also getting the dog used to correcting themselves through higher power because when life throws you a lemon or something, you've already worked through it. That you're going to be more likely to be successful to get him to come back or whatever it is you need him to do.
Got it. Okay. Maverick, free dog.
Let's go ahead and dip that down. What's your number?
37.
Yeah, let's go down to like 28. He felt the full power there, so there's like good connection or something. Let's go ahead and scoot him over in front of this fireplace.
Okay. Maverick, free dog.
Yeah, good, perfect.
Yes, good boy.
Was that with just tapping?
What's that?
Was that just through tapping?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's try 4 more.
Maverick, free dog. Yes, good boy.
Good, 3 more.
Maverick, free. Free dog. Yes, good boy.
2 more.
Maverick, free.
So did he do that by himself?
Yeah.
Okay, so lightly pull up and tap him into the sit. There you go. And then wait a moment. Up again. Tap, tap, tap. Wait a moment. Tap, 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 up. Yep, wait a moment. Up, tap, tap, tap. Yep, wait a moment. Up. Tap, 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 tap. Yep, wait. Now. Good. Feet.
Yes, good boy.
We're going to do 1 more.
Maverick, free. Free dog. Free dog. Yes.
Good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go and layer in the word plots.
Okay.
So when we do this, we're since he's jumping the gun a bit, I'm going to have you wait and delay the command a bit, like a couple of seconds.
Okay.
And you're going to do exactly what you did 2 to 3 tries ago, where you kept laying down, you kept propping him up and tapping into the sit position, so that it's on your cue and not because he's assuming to do so.
Okay.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
So,
Yep.
delay. Like after I free him, delay saying plots.
Correct. So once you have him in that sitting position, wait a few seconds,
Yeah, got it.
plots, and then yeah.
Maverick free.
Right.
Plots.
Good.
Boy. He's very quick on the commands.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good speed.
Yeah. Maverick free. Free dog.
Good.
Plots.
Good.
Yes.
That's really
boy.
good speed.
Maverick free dog. Free dog.
Good. Tap, yep. Tap.
Plots. Yes, good boy.
We'll cap it right there for Maverick because he's got a really good plots. And I'll go over how you guys are going to practice this for the week. So you can rotate the camera to the couch if you'd like.
Okay. Maverick stay. Plots. Stay. All right.
Very good. So with Maverick, he was giving us the same issue as Bear. Did you see that? Where he kept popping up. Okay. So same thing with Bear. I would start playing with that power to correct him back into the sitting position to dissuade him from doing so. Okay. Or to dissuade him from going back to assuming the down position. Okay. So just so you guys are aware, trainers will tell you never teach a dog from like a sitting position. And that's more so because of it creates the habit of sit to down. But also because in like obedience ring or competition ring stuff, like it's frowned upon. But we're dealing with family pets, so I don't care about that. It's easiest for the dog to lay down from a sitting position, okay? And it's easier to correct back up into the sitting position should they lay down, okay? So for Maverick, I would focus on that last bit where he kept trying to lay down prematurely and playing with power to dissuade him to where he'll sit up and wait for that cue. Okay, he's definitely got good speed. When you said plots, he was like super fast, and that's what I'd like to create. With Bear, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I want quick because one, for people, when the dog's too slow, they tend to repeat, and I don't want the repeat to happen. And the faster the dog goes into it, the more applicable it is in realistic environments. So if you're at a restaurant patio and you say Bear down, and he's used to just this quick down, you have to account for that there's going to be distractions. So if it's kind of wired in his brain, when I hear plots, I just plop down, you're not going to have to worry about arguing with him in a distracting setting to reinforce the command.
Yeah.
So that back and forth between the sit to down position, again, 3 to 5 minutes, 2 times a day. So if you each did a session with the dogs, they should be fine.
Okay.
And in terms of where to jump in, for Bear, I'd start off with the a little bit of heavier leash pressure, a couple of times to very slight leash pressure to the cue. Okay. For Maverick, because I can see he's got a very good concept of plots. You might be able to just jump in with the command of plots and then popping in with the collar, and then just working on him prematurely downing. Okay, because he's definitely a little bit further along than Bear.
Yeah.
Now we want to go to application. So like I mentioned earlier, find times where you can use it. if you're going to work from home and be at your computer at your desk, if you're going to watch, a TV show or something on TV, if you're going to sit on the couch and relax and read a book or something, times where you're going to be stationary and sitting down is the easiest way to practice this.
Mm-hmm.
And you want them on the leash in your immediate vicinity. And for this week, when you down them, if you're going to get up to get something, okay, so let's say you've been watching TV, it's been 30 minutes, and you decide, I'm going to get some water. I would suggest for this week is you release them first, then you stand up, and then you go do what you're going to do, and then come back and then replots them or re-down them, okay?
Mm-hmm.
During that time, if they try to prematurely get up or sit up or stand up, you don't repeat plots, you just remote, okay? Until they go back into position. That's why it's important that when you're sitting down, you're stepping on the leash and leaving only a little bit of slack, okay? Because if you step on it by the handle, now they have 6 feet that they can wander around trying to figure out what to do, okay? So we make it easier. We do that for a week. And then by week 2, if we've corrected them enough times, I could then move into, okay, you're at my feet laying down. Now I'm going to get up to go get something, but I'm not going to release you. Okay, so we make it a little bit harder. But now, if we've practiced so many corrections with the remote, should they try to follow, I can simply remote them, and they lay back down, and then I can continue going to do what I'm going to do, and then come back, and then go back to watching my show. Okay, and then week 2 or week 3 is we plots them away from us, not too far, but a little bit away from us. So we're making it harder, and then we get up and move around and do things. Maybe you start cleaning the house and stuff like that, and you start creating distraction. And then the ultimate plots is like they're laying down across the room from you, and you go upstairs and downstairs and to this room and to that room, and you're gone for 20 minutes in the other room, and you come back and they don't move. Okay. In terms of what you build it to, is contingent on what you want or need. Okay. If you want to get a very solid down or plots that's you can use it wherever, you have to push the boundaries. Okay. Mm-hmm. If it's like, well, we'd only really use it if we go to a patio, we wouldn't have our dogs off leash in a plots, then I go, okay, then practice to that degree that you know you're going to need, and don't worry about the next level. Okay? Definitely, even if they're doing very well, keep the leash on them at this point. Okay? Anytime you're going to use it, keep the leash on them, because it's going to make your lives a lot easier. You're trying to condition that anytime you've had to correct them, they always go back into position. A lot of people see great progress, so they remove the leash too soon, and then when they try to correct the dog goes, hey, the leash is gone, and then runs away, okay, because it's too soon. So it's usually weeks with the leash on inside the home, and so I know that it's very clear to the dog, when you feel the remote, it means go back into position and not try to run away. Okay? Questions?
I don't think so.
No. Good.
With the food stuff, once you get to the point where they're plotting, no issue, you can start removing it. Okay? It's more so just to incentivize the learning process in the beginning, but once I see they got the concept, I can start removing it. It's not necessary for the rest of the training. Okay? I'm going to talk to Maria about scheduling Brianna to work with you over the weekend. So then I'd work with you on Thursday on the Zoom, and then Bree will coordinate something so that she can work with you in person on a separate day. Okay.
Is there any availability for us to work in person with you in the next couple months, or
you can talk to Maria about it. I don't know what my schedule. I know right now the weekends are full. We just opened up to Monday now. We do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now we just opened to Monday. So we're slowly filling up the days and expanding. If you'd rather work with me down the line, I suggest you contact Maria and then say hey, can we do that? And if that's the case, I mean, if you end up getting Bree in person, I would think you wouldn't need me in person down the line. Otherwise, if you want to wait, then we can hold off on Bree, and then we'll just let you schedule. So this way, it's going to be redundant. Essentially, it's going to be me giving you the same information that she is, and I'm trying to avoid that.
Makes sense.
Okay.
We wouldn't be able to do it this weekend, but I think next weekend. Yeah.
Sure, I'll make a note here. Okay. And then I'll let Maria know, and then she'll get in contact with you But most of the stuff can be done over Zoom. It's really simple. E-collar makes things so simple. The only thing that I think that you would need in person with Bree is most likely the healing exercise and the recall stuff, just to make sure we're practicing that correctly. Everything else, sit down, stay, place, and sit down, place, and stay, is real simple stuff to do over Zoom. It's the moving stuff that's hard because you need open space.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Anything else?
No.
Good. How are you guys feeling so far with everything that you've learned?
Good. I mean, I was really, I'm not surprised, but very happy when we were away. How easy it was to use and how well they responded to the collar.
Perfect. Yeah. That now you can see why I just tell people do e-collar. Because I can train people over Zoom for the most part. We've not had to touch any dogs in person because of e-collar. We can just coach everything, and it's super effective. So I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Okay. If anything pops up, if you have any questions, you let me know. Otherwise, we'll get in contact with you and see what we can get scheduled for next weekend, and then Maria will get in contact about the next Zoom session.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jesse.
You're welcome,
Thanks,
guys.
Jesse.
Take care.
Take care.